flip the finger to the King of England. Stole our country from the Indians. With God on our side and guns in our hands, took it for our own. Built a nation dedicated to liberty, justice and equality. Doesn't look that way to you, it doesn't look that way to me. Sickest joke I know. Listen up man, I'll tell you who I am. Just another stupid American. You don't want to listen, you don't want to understand. So finish up.
Hey there, you crazy kids. Welcome again to Pure Rank. I'm Steve, and this is the podcast where I pick a band or artist and rank my favorite albums of theirs. On this episode, as if you didn't already know, I will be talking about another one of my favorite bands. This time, it's the Descendents. So, first, a little bit of history about the band. The Descendents were formed in 1977 in Manhattan Beach, California, by Bill Stevenson, Frank Nevada, and Tony Lombardo. And a couple years later, in 1979, they added Milo Ackerman on vocals. To date, they have released 8 studio albums, 3 live albums, 3 compilation albums, and 4 EPs. So they've gone through a few lineup changes in their long career. But since 1986, their lineup has remained the same, with Milo, Bill, Stephen Egerton on guitar, and Carl Alvarez on bass. I was first introduced to the Descendents in high school. A friend of mine brought a cassette and had me listen to it. It was their live album, Liveage. I'm going to play a little clip here for you.
A guy who sleeps on the floor. Well, I wanted to love, and I sailed from the distant floor. When you chucked me in, you stopped my custody turning. But I turned back the covers and saw those she's not ready. Even though you'll never come clean, no, it's true. The sheets are dirty, and so are you. The walls of the bed. A guy who sleeps on the floor.
So that was Clean Sheets off the album Liveage. To be frank, at the time I found them interesting, but like at least at first they didn't really connect with me. I'm not sure why. I was just like, yeah, they're good, interesting, nothing really special. I didn't really get into them as heavily as I did, or as heavily as I am now, until around the mid-1990s. At this point, I'd heard some more of their studio albums and saw some live videos, and yeah, just really, really got into them. You know, at this point, I mean, the band just really resonates with me, I guess would be a way to put it. Their songs are catchy and fun. You know, they're fun to listen to. To me, the Descendents are the epitome of melodic punk rock. So they are, as I said, they're probably one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band. I think they're probably tied with Bad Religion for favorite band. So yeah. So I've seen this, let's see how many times I've seen this band live. So the first time I saw them live, and it was a while. Didn't see them until 2012 when I went to Riot Fest when it came to Dallas. I'm pretty sure that 2012 was the only time it ever came to Dallas. My friend Dave and I went down there, and they were actually the main reason I even went to Riot Fest. There were some other bands playing that I wanted to see, but really Descendents were the one I made the trip for. I remember this show, not even because of the Descendents and their performance, which the performance was great. I was really glad that I saw it. But the thing that I remember most about this show is I was sick that entire day. Like, got up, I wasn't feeling all that great. I don't think I had a stomach bug. Maybe I did. I don't know. But like, my stomach just felt queasy and I was nauseous all day. But I was like, yeah, I'm going. I don't care. And it was okay. So, the show was fun, generally speaking. I did have a really good time. But the whole time I was just thinking, man, I am going to puke. And funny enough, I never actually did throw up, not before the show, not during the show, although I hit the toilet a few times because I thought I was about to. But even later in the night after the show was over and we were driving back home, it was weird. I just had a weird stomach thing going on. But anyway, that's the first time I saw the Descendents, and it was a lot of fun. And the show overall was really a lot of fun, like I said. Second time I saw them was a few years later in November 2018. Went up to Tulsa, and they played at Kane's Ballroom. And this was an interesting weekend. I'll explain why a little bit more as I get throughout the weekend. Went up there with my wife, and Dave was with us as well. And so this show at Kane's Ballroom, Hagfish had reunited to play this show. And that was really cool because I'd never gotten a chance to see Hagfish when they were active. And another band that opened for them was called Radkey, and they were really good. But the Descendents, they came on, did their thing. It was amazing. The show was great. But moving further into the weekend, it was interesting because it was Descendents on, I want to say Friday. Could have been Saturday. I don't know. So it was a Descendents and All weekend. All being the band that Descendents became after Milo left to pursue his scientific career, and the band continued with a different singer. They changed names from Descendents to All. There's a whole story behind that. I'm not really going to get into it too much, but point being, Descendents was one night and All was the second night. And I want to say it was Friday Descendents, Saturday All, but it might have been Descendants Saturday and All on Sunday. I don't really remember. Anyway, so the first night Descendants played at Kane's Ballroom. Second night, it was at a place called the IDL Ballroom. And of course, All was the headliner. But interestingly enough, the Descendents opened for them. So they did like a set of completely different songs than they had played the evening before. And so I got to see Descendents twice in one weekend. So that was really cool. It was a great weekend. Awesome weekend. And then the last time I saw them was actually a little more recently. I saw them in September 2022 at Riot Fest in Chicago. I was living in Michigan at the time, and another story here, I actually wasn't planning on going to Riot Fest, but my youngest kid wanted to go. And it was only a 3-hour drive down to Chicago. So we drove down for the weekend. And Descendents was one of the bands that was playing. I want to say that they played on Saturday. But yeah, they were good. It was a good show. Glad I got to see them. Interestingly enough, I am going to be seeing them again next month. That would be March 2024 because it is February right now. I'm going up there in March I'm actually going to see Circle Jerks because I've never seen the band Circle Jerks live. And I'm going up to Tulsa to see them. And the Descendents are opening, maybe. I think they're opening. Maybe it's a double headlining thing. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when I get there. So I'll get to see them again. So that'll be a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, Descendents, favorite band, or at least one of the favorite bands. So let's get into this ranking thing. So I've got 5 albums I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to play some clips from some songs and talk about the albums a little bit, give you a little history on them. Number 5 in the ranking is Hypercathium Spazionate. This is their most recent release. They have not, unless you count Ninth and Walnut, which was released after Hypercathium, but it's like previously recorded material. Yeah. Anyway, so Hypercathium was released in July of 2016 by Epitaph Records. It was recorded in 2015 at the Blasting Room in Fort Collins, Colorado. They also did some recording in Armstrong Recording in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is the studio that Stephen Egerton owns. And there was also some recording done at White House Studio in Newark, Delaware. The album was produced by Bill Stevenson and Stephen Egerton. And this actually was their, or has been so far, their highest charting album, according to Billboard 200. It actually peaked at number 20. So that's pretty good for a punk album. Some really good songs on here. On Paper is really good. Shameless Halo is really good. Without Love's really good. Victim of Me. It's just a really good all around album. And I am going to play a clip from this song. This is the song Shameless Halo. So yeah, that is Shameless Halo by the Descendents off of Hypercathium Spazionate. So this album, like I said, it's number 5 in the rank. They've gotten stronger as songwriters, I think, and this has just got a lot of really good tunes on it. So yeah, number 5, Hypercathium Spazionate. My number 4 album is Cool to Be You. Cool to Be You was released in March 2005 4 by Fat Records. And it was recorded in February and April 2002 at the Blasting Room, and also at Planet of Sound in Wilmington, Delaware. It was produced by Bill Stevenson, and it's also got some really good stuff on it. Let's go through some of the highlights on this one. Talking, Nothing With You, She Don't Care, Dreams, title track, Mass Murder, and American, which we played at the very beginning of the show, which is actually their first overtly political song. And as far as Descendents songs are concerned, that's probably in my top 5 of songs from the band. Is American. It's just a really good song. But yeah, it's really, like I said, it's overtly political, talks about the good and bad of American history. Things like good things like cultural figures like Otis Redding, Walt Whitman. Then it talks about like slavery and the Ku Klux Klan and Vietnam War. So, it's just like this whole, be proud to be American, but also be ashamed. So not only is it just a really good song, it just kind of hits you, as an American. But the song that I'm going to play a clip from this album is actually the title track. So here's Cool to Be You.
I don't believe in unity. It's just one more abandoned dream. Once the people get together, it's easy to see. It's just a matter of time before they come after me. But it must be pretty cool to be you, with your brothers at your back protecting you. Must be pretty cool to know you belong. Isolated my whole life, count stars in the land of the smiling nights. Yes, I'm envious, it's true, but it must be cool to be you. You got a loving family to give you everything.
Yeah, Cool to Be You. Great song, great album. That is number 4 in my ranking. Number 3, we're actually going back in time a little bit. These last two, number 5 and number 4, have been, in the grand scheme of things, newer albums by the band. I guess 2004 really isn't all that new. It's almost, it is 20 years old. But anyway, number 3, we're going back into their history with I Don't Want to Grow Up. This is their second studio album. It was released in 1985 by New Alliance Records. So a little bit of history. New Alliance was actually a record label that was put together by D. Boone and Mike Watt of the Minutemen. And they kind of built this record label based on like the SST Records model. Minutemen, of course, were on SST. And they kind of wanted to do their own thing as far as the record label. But eventually the record label ended up getting sold to SST. And that was after the tragic death of guitarist D. Boone. Anyway, so this album was released on New Alliance. It was recorded in April 1985 at the Music Lab in Los Angeles, California. And it was produced by Bill Stevenson and David Tarling. So David Tarling was actually a guy, an engineer and producer who had worked with Bill Stevenson during his tenure with the band Black Flag. He produced some of their records, such as Loose Nut, Process of Weeding Out, In My Head. And Bill liked the sound of those, so he brought David along to help him produce I Don't Want to Grow Up. And so this was actually the first album our first Descendents album that was recorded after Bill had left the band Black Flag and kind of reunited the Descendents. This also was the last album to feature Tony Lombardo on bass. He actually quit the band because he did not want to tour, and Bill at the time wanted the band to tour more often and get the name out there, that sort of thing. And so this one was the last to feature Tony. As with the previous, this one's got a lot of really good songs on it. Title track is really good. Pervert's good. My World, Silly Girl, Christmas Vacation, Good Things. Really, I mean, there's probably not a bad track on this album. The one I am going to play for you, or at least a clip I'm going to play for you from this album, is also one of my top 5 favorite Descendants songs. And that one is Silly Girl. Yeah, Silly Girl. So this has been a pretty influential album for a lot of musicians. Ever since its release, there have been a ton of cover versions of songs from this album. One of which I'm actually going to play a clip from. I am going to play a clip of the Bouncing Souls doing the song Pervert. Yeah. Pervert by the Bouncing Souls. Good stuff there. All right, that brings us to number 2 in the ranking. This one we jump ahead again in time with Everything Sucks. So this album was released in September 1996 by Epitaph Records. It was recorded in June and July 1996 at the Blasting Room. It was produced by Bill Stevenson and Stephen Egerton. This was their first new material since the 1987 album All, and actually was the first album of the band's to chart on the Billboard 200. It reached 132. So, as I had mentioned earlier, I didn't really start getting into this band, like really hardcore getting into them until the mid 90s. So this album came out, like I said, in 1996. So it came out like just at the peak of when I was really into them. Like I was really, really into them. And then this album came out, and the album came out as a surprise. So thing about this time period, I was living in Alaska, and the internet wasn't like a really huge thing. So you didn't really get a lot of news about bands on the internet yet. But also, like living in Alaska, didn't really have a lot of access to news in general. Like the closest record store was, I mean, other than the one that was on the Air Force Base I lived, there wasn't any like, specific record stores for like an hour away, hour and a half away. But they call them the Base Exchange, which is basically like a department store that's on base. They had a very small music section. So it wasn't really a record store. It was just kind of like going to a Walmart and you see albums. But I'd gone into the Base Exchange one afternoon. I don't remember when it was. It was probably like October, maybe November. I don't know. But I was looking through the CDs and I said, "Hey, Descendents. Well, I haven't heard of this album." And, I bought it, look at it, and like, it was just released. Holy crap. So part of the reason why it's so high in the ranking might be like nostalgia value, because I was a really big fan of Descendents at the time this album came out. But also, there's just a lot of really good songs on here. And when I was coming up with this rank for this show, I was really going back and forth between this one and another album to be the number one album. Like Everything Sucks, we could almost say it's a tie for number one, but the other album that I'm going to mention in here in a few minutes just kind of edges it out a little bit. But this album has so many good songs on it. Everything Sucks, I'm the One, Coffee Mug, Rotting Out, Sick of Me When I Get Old, She Loves Me. It's got 15 tracks on it, and it's just amazing. It's just so good. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and play a track from this one. From this one, I am going to play... Which one did I pick for this one? Shoot, no, I don't remember. I am going to play a clip from When I Get Old. Here it is.
What will it be like when I get old? Will I still hop on my bike and ride around town? Will I still want to be someone and not just sit around? I don't want to be like other adults, 'cause they've already died. Cool and condescending, fossilized. Will I be rich? Will I be poor? Or will I still sleep on the floor? What will it be like when I get? What will I be like when I get? What will it be like when I get old? Will I still kiss my girlfriend and try to drive her ass? Will I still hate the cops?
I have no class. Yeah. Yeah, so that is from Everything Sucks, which is number 2 on my ranking. Which brings us to the number one album on my top 5 albums of the Descendents. Number one is Milo Goes to College, their debut album, which was released in September 1982 by New Alliance Records. This one was recorded in June of 1982 at Total Access Recording in Redondo Beach, California. The producer on this one was one Glenn Lockett, better known as Spot, who is well known as the producer of the early, or some of the early Black Flag albums, as well as a ton of SST bands, the Minutemen, Meat Puppets, Husker Du, St. Vitus. He did a crap ton of production for SST. But Milo Goes to College. Debut album, as I said, the band at the time was Milo Ackerman. Tony Lombardo was on bass. Frank Nevada was on guitar. And, of course, Bill Stevenson was on drums. So this album, like I said, came out in 1982. It is listed on several best punk albums of all time lists. Not only that, it is actually listed by a bunch of musicians out there as one of their most influential albums. Artists like Mike Watt of the Minutemen, Zach Blair of Hagfish, and Rise Against, Fat Mike of NoFX, Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. There's just a ton of people who cite this as influential. And this was just a really great album, top to bottom. Really looking at the list of songs on here, there's not a bad one on there. When I was putting this together, I was like, what song from this album am I going to play a clip from? I kept going back and forth. So I wound up deciding I'm going to play 2. So this first clip I'm going to play is from the last song on the album, Gene is Dead. So Gene is Dead. Like I said, last song on the album, Milo Goes to College. Really fun sounding song. But if you actually listen to the lyrics, they are kind of depressing almost. It's essentially about a guy whose girlfriend committed suicide. And but yeah, it's really, really good song, really meaningful. It was written by Bill Stevenson. The other song I'm going to play from this album is one that has been covered by a ton of artists. And I am going to play it now. This is Bikeage. So, Bikeage is, as I mentioned, a song that has been covered the hell out of. And I am actually going to play a couple of clips by a couple of artists that covered the song. But I wanted to say something about the song itself. Again, one of those songs that sounds really fun, but is also kind of depressing in a way, lyrically speaking. It's about this girl who basically just uses drugs and alcohol to get through life, and it's her life is a mess, and it's crazy. It's like all these songs from these albums, like they all sound fun and they're all just like upbeat and peppy and whatnot. And some of the times you read the lyrics and you're like, damn. But, anyway, the first clip I'm going to play, I'm going to play a couple of covers. The first one is from a band called Baroness, which it's funny because this is actually a doom sludge metal band from Georgia. But here they are playing Bikeage by the Descendents. So a little bit of a different interpretation of the song by Baroness. So here is another interpretation of that song. This is Joey Cape of Lagwagon doing his take on it. All right. So that was Joey Cape. I believe it was actually a band called Punk Rock Karaoke, and Joey Cape was singing for them at the time. But two completely different interpretations of a Descendants song. Both actually pretty good, in my opinion. But there's been a lot of bands that have covered that song. And there have been a crap ton of artists that have covered the band in general. So, number one, Milo Goes to College, and that's it. That's my 5 favorite albums by the Descendents. And that's it for this second episode of Pure Rank. Thank you for listening to Pure Rank. This is Steve Long. Please rate and review and let us know how you're doing, what you think of the show, what we can do to improve it. And we'll see you next time.